Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock, and I'll tell you why I don't believe a word Bill Belichick just said about his future with the Patriots.
And I'm Colin Cowherd, and I'll tell you why yesterday was more proof. People need to stop making excuses for Cam Newton. Speak for yourself starts right now.
Cam Newton was tremendous. I have no idea
He was the
what the hell
second
you're
best
talking
quarterback
about.
in that game.
I have no idea. One guy threw an interception at the end. All right, hello and welcome. We're joined today by Fox NFL analyst Tony Gonzalez and Greg Jennings. Let's start in New England, where questions have been swirling about the Patriots' future since a report dropped Friday detailing an ongoing power struggle between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. The report strongly hinted that Belichick could be on his way out of Foxborough, an idea the coach flatly denied today.
Hey, Bill, there was a report in the New York Daily News this weekend that you would have some interest in coaching the Giants. Just want to see if there's any truth to that.
Right now, my interest is trying to do the best I can for our football team to get ready for Saturday night against Tennessee. That's where my total focus is.
I mean, is your intention definitely to be back with the Patriots next season?
Absolutely.
Cowherd, do you believe Belichick's less than emphatic absolutely?
I think there's a chance he could be back. A chance he could be back with New England. Kraft and Brady will be back with New England. But the tension's real. The Alex Guerrero issues are real. Giving Jimmy Garoppolo away wasn't his idea. So do I believe Brady's denial, Belichick's denial? Not really. It's pretty light to me.
Yeah, that's not even really a strong denial. It's a, hey, right now my focus is on this football game in front of me. And then when asked a more pointed question, he gives a light absolutely. But I think the key element here, there's several. I believe the report that there's tension. But I think the opening with the New York Giants makes it less likely that he returns. I think if that is for, I think, Belichick, having started there with Parcells and won Super Bowls, yeah. I do think the football Giants are the ultimate job. And I think an 18-year run with the Patriots and all the success they had, I think he can move on to the Giants and live out the 7 years of his coaching career with the Giants. I don't buy what – I don't even think he's selling. So I don't want to say I disagree with Belichick. I think he's moving on.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be back. I don't believe the absolutely at all. I definitely know that there's a rift there. There's something there. There's tension, I'll say. Not a rift, there's tension. Simply because we're even having this conversation about it. When you think about the New England Patriots and their organization and how quiet they keep their camp in-house, everything stays in-house, nothing really leaks outside. And this isn't even football related. This is like back and forth, upper management, head coach, your face of the franchise and Tom Brady. And it all started with the Jimmy Garoppolo deal.
Yep. With
Bill Belichick not being able to do what he's always been allowed to do, which is run this football team the way I run it. I play chess the way I play.
Totally denies, though, that he interfered.
I get that.
I don't believe.
I do not believe that because when you look at the relationship between Robert Kraft and Tom Brady, it's a relationship that extends beyond the football field, far beyond the football field. Yes. They have a great rapport in the relationship there. And when you look at Bill Belichick and his relationship with Kraft and Brady, it's business.
You guys are amazing because since when do you guys feel like you can understand Bill Belichick? I mean, the way his personality, he's never high, he's never low. And to me, he's answering that question how he would answer any other question around that organization. When asked about Tom Brady last year, you thinking about trading when Tom was not playing bad? And he's like, no. Like, his questions are like that. It's always flat line. I don't think I have the ability to read into what Bill Belichick is saying, but I believe that he will be there. You got a perfect marriage. They're probably going to win another Super Bowl this year. Why would you want to break anything like that up? All these guys care about is winning. I'm telling you, that's all they care about is winning.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a perfect marriage. Like I always.
But it works.
Do you know any?
No, it works, but it's not a perfect.
Do you know any perfect marriages?
We all know this about Belichick. He drafts quarterbacks almost every year. They matter to him. His career, fired in Cleveland without one, legend with one. So he finally gets Garoppolo, 3.5 years, tells everybody that'll listen, that's my Steve Young, that's my Aaron Rodgers, and then just gives them away. I mean, come on. That's just not Belichick. That there's something. Listen, whether you think Seth Wickersham nailed the entire story, he didn't whiff on the entire story. You don't write 22 pages and miss on everything.
A lot of detail in
A
there.
lot.
I thought the story was tremendous. I do, though, however, think Bob Kraft's strong, detailed dismissal of there was no meeting. I'm not sure if Kraft is lying about that. Now maybe what Kraft is being semantical, he put pressure on him in subtle ways, but to directly tell Belichick what to do, if Kraft says he didn't do that as it relates to the quarterback position, I kind of buy it and agree. But again, I think Belichick's moving on. I think, look, there are no perfect marriages.
Okay, let's listen to this again.
Yep.
Now, Belichick generally is completely, almost arrogant and condescending.
Yeah.
I mean, we would admit, he's literally dismissive. If you play the tape again, he's not dismissive.
That I agree.
Okay, let's just play it again. Because remember, he literally mocks reporters.
Yeah.
He doesn't, if you listen, mock the reporter. Let's listen again.
Hey, Bill, there was a report in the New York Daily News this weekend that you would have some interest in coaching the Giants. Just want to see if there's any truth to that.
Right now, my interest is trying to do the best I can for our football team to get ready for Saturday night against Tennessee. That's where my total focus is.
I mean, is your intention definitely to be back with the Patriots next season?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the absolutely is fine, but the first part of it, he would have.
That's a great point.
Could this be one of those things in relationships? It happens. Somebody got cheated on. He got cheated on, and he probably feels a little betrayed at this point.
Yes.
But I believe when you look at the big picture, when he has a chance to relax and get over his feelings, I don't see why he would want to leave.
That part makes sense.
Why would you leave the golden goose and everything is cooking and working? Yes, you got cheated on, and it hurts, but you got to get over it.
And I hear you, but everyone has an ego. And I believe with Robert Kraft and with them pretty much forcing his hand, at the beginning of the season, Jimmy Garoppolo, everyone wanted, they could have gotten whatever they wanted for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes.
Now you don't get anything for him, and you're telling me that's what Bill Belichick signed up? No, he's so calculated. Richard Seymour, all these great, every player that he's always had that we thought, why would you get rid of this guy? And he let him go because we're not building a franchise around a player. Regardless if your name is Tom Brady or whomever.
And he's 40.
I'm making sure that I have someone in place. They took that away from him and his successor to be able to sustain that.
And you're being very pragmatic. You're saying, why would you leave? Have you ever noticed with affairs how often you say, why did he cheat on a woman less attractive and smart than his wife? There is no sense in betrayal and emotion. New Orleans, where the Saints held off a late surge to beat the Panthers in a really good game yesterday on Fox. Carolina shut down New Orleans' running attack completely. So Drew Brees put the team on his back, throwing for almost 400 yards. Cam Newton had a pretty good game himself. The officials didn't, with some questionable calls down the stretch. Whitlock, what is your biggest takeaway from that Saints win?
I have two takeaways. One, Sean Payton did something totally irresponsible and reckless and nearly threw away Drew Brees' maybe greatest playoff performance. I thought Drew Brees was tremendous up until 4th and 2, and, they got into a bad play or whatever. There was no reason to go for that. What Sean Payton did was stupid, reckless, should have cost him the game. That was my number one takeaway. And then my second takeaway, as I look at why the interception wasn't reviewed, when I look at why the intentional grounding was called, I just sit there and say, you know what? The NFL wanted no parts of Jerry Richardson's storyline in the playoffs, and they got rid of the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, good Lord. Wow. Good Lordy.
Fix is in.
My takeaway is the difference between good and great quarterbacks is the ability to carry a team when your weapons are gone. I mean, Aaron Rodgers gets to an NFC championship. His running back wears number 88. Brady loses Gronk, Edelman, doesn't matter. Drew Brees, his fastball all year was the running game. None of it. His team had 4 times the penalties. He watched most of the game. They could get no rhythm. He was only on the field 22 minutes, and he won. And by the way, they'd already blown the Panthers out twice. So he had to galvanize this team and convince his teammates, hey, man, these guys are great. You'd box their ears twice. That was a legend. That's what Aaron Rodgers does. That's what Brady does win a Super Bowl without Gronk. Cam Newton had the better running game, was on the field and in the red zone the entire game. By the way, Cam Newton had lost twice to this team. Very easy to tell the fellas in the locker room, fellas, we owe them one. You know how hard it is to beat a good team 3 times in the NFL in 1 year?
Cam Newton was playing on the road. His receiver dropped a touchdown pass.
Oh, boy.
Cam Newton played his ass off.
He did.
He played a tremendous
He was the
game.
second best quarterback in that game.
He was as good as Drew Brees.
Well, it's always woulda, coulda, shoulda. Come on. But the 2 things that I want to take away, for the reason that you guys said too, first of all, I think Drew Brees, before it's all said and done, he should have an argument, especially if he wins another Super Bowl, as the greatest quarterback of all time. And I don't know if you ever pick one, but he's in the argument, okay? And I really feel that way.
He's in the Marino Elway-ish if he wins a Super Bowl.
I believe he is. And
You don't think so?
I believe he is.
So
AFC West, I had to go against him when he played for the San Diego Chargers, and I had to go against him in the NFC South when I played for the Falcons. This guy is legit an elite Mount Rushmore of quarterback in the league. Michael Thomas, the receiver, that popped out to me. This guy is an elite guy. And on defense, Cameron Jordan is a game wrecker. First team All-Pro. These 2 guys are guys that can change the game, that can get them to a Super Bowl victory if these guys stay healthy and show up the way they did yesterday. I fell in love with Michael Thomas. He's a tough guy.
Yeah, Drew Brees, obviously that's a huge takeaway, but for me, it was the other guys. We talk about both quarterbacks. Both quarterbacks played great. I thought Cam played great. I was eager to see how he would come out and play. But his supporting cast, when you look at what Cam had to work with Funchess, with Clay, with all these, were they going to step up and make the plays that he needed them to make to get the win? They did not do that. When you look at Drew Brees and you look at a Michael Thomas and you look at the running backs, Kamara,
They didn't run for anything.
You look at Coleman, all these different weapons that he had, they all stepped up. Michael Thomas, he had 9 targets in this game. He caught 8 passes for $131. Drew Brees only had 10 incompletions. So you talk about what stood out. The other guys stepped up. Drew, no taking away from anything from Drew Brees, but when you have to win playoff games, the other guys who are unexpected need to step up and play.
Agree with that. Agree with that. But that to me, I would send that tape minus his interception at the end, and hell, the interception actually worked for him. So I send it all to Canton, Ohio. This is what Drew Brees is. The pass to Michael Thomas on 3rd down, the behind the shoulder, the fade stop or whatever, on time, incredible. There's only a handful of people that can do that.
And it was a great catch, man.
Yes,
Come on, Thomas. If you asked, let's say Aaron Rodgers, if you said to Aaron, the next 7 years of your career, you get 2 things, go. He'd go, give me a running game, give me a defense. I'll get the offense. Okay, this idea that Cam has no help. He's got a running game. He's got a defense.
He's the running game, Colin.
Well, let's look.
He was the running game.
In 7 years, he's completed 58% of his throws.
Colin,
he was good yesterday.
Look, Michael Thomas is a high-round draft pick. Kamara and Ingram won the Heisman Trophy. Drew Brees has weapons galore. The one player that he made was the tight end Hill, who I didn't know a damn thing about, but Drew Brees kept throwing him open, and the guy kept making
But you guys are making it all about weapons. If you asked a quarterback what they want running games, and they want defense.
And they want weapons too, Colin.
Thank you.
They need weapons.
They make weapons.
Funchess is playing with one arm yesterday,
I'm not saying Cam didn't play well yesterday, but in Week 17, when he could have had a home playoff game, he was awful.
Well,
That's Cam.
Yeah, but
we're judging.
This is yesterday.
This is yesterday. Yes. On the road, New Orleans, Drew Brees is on fire, and you have a chance to win that game. And if the referees line you up at the 50-yard line like they're supposed to, maybe you do win the damn game. Cam was off the chains. Drew Brees was better. I'll give him that, but both of them were off the chains.
Welcome back, Tony Gonzalez, Greg Jennings here. Let's return to New Orleans. Best game of the weekend. Panthers raised some eyebrows yesterday, sending Cam Newton back into the game just moments after he took a big pop and fell to his knees on his way to the sideline. Now, NFL is looking into the team's handling of this, but he and Coach Ron Rivera both said after the game that it's much ado about nothing.
I know it was precautionary concussion protocol things that happened, but it wasn't my head, it was my eye. my helmet had came down low enough over my eyelid, and it got pressed by the player's stomach, I believe. So I thought maybe somebody had stuck their finger in my eye.
No, he actually got poked in the eye. They took him in there just precautionary, just to make sure. But when he was sitting on the ground, they were trying to wipe whatever, when he got poked. So that's what that was.
All right, Whitlock, you okay? How the Panthers handle the injury?
1,000%, and I buy him. Gonzalez is over here giggling. He doesn't buy the story. I buy it. I think it was Cam's eye. I think when he was walking towards the sidelines, the trainer, the people on the sidelines, get down, get down. They wanted their quarterback to have time to warm up. It's common practice in the NFL. Look, and just at the end of the day, the concussion protocol rule is impractical. And everyone's, they didn't follow the protocol. They didn't follow the protocol. If I'm the Carolina Panthers, if I'm the NFL, I do not want Cam Newton walking into the locker room with 3 or 4 minutes to play and the game on the line. I want the competition to continue unless he's in some serious jeopardy, and I don't think he remotely was. And so we can talk about the rules and, you got to take them. But again, just like I said earlier in the show, it's a combat sport. People can sit and watch boxing, UFC, and have no problem. Oh, God, are they safe? Are they going to have CTE? We don't even worry about it. We enjoy the competition. Football, combat sport. You're going to get your bell rung. Get over it. The players have. The fans don't really care. It's all this fake media outrage because they hate football and they hate football players. It's a damn combat sport. Cam's a big boy. He can handle it.
I thought it was an eye thing. I'm about 3 times a year, it's usually a receiver, that you'll watch a game and go, get him off the field. And you can see it. It's obvious. Wes Welker for Denver.
Yeah. Tom Savage earlier this year.
Yeah, you're like, get him out of there. With Cam, it was he kept blinking. First of all, when he was on the field, a guy's foot banged into his helmet and the shield moved in. So this never, to me, looked like one of those, good Lord, get him out of here. You know how hard you got to hit Cam? I mean, he's a 6'6", 260-pound man. I felt it was an eye thing. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, I was totally fine with the way they handled it. Playoff game, they understand what was at stake. They know that Cam knows his body. And then, too, to your point, and I said this earlier on Undisputed, the trainers, when you have an injury and it's that quick and it's at this point in the game, we need time. We need personnel changes to take place to give us a little bit of time. Get down. That gives us more time to make sure Derek Anderson can throw some balls, that we can get in his ear a little bit. It gives us more time that we can buy. If you just walk off the field, play has to resume right away, and so you don't have that same time. As far as concussion protocol goes, every player, just because they get hit in the head, it should not be entered into concussion protocol. I mean, if you walk off sometimes you get hit and you're not concussed, you just got hit.
Yeah.
And you need to gather yourself. I mean, every time I got hit, if I would have walked off the field shaking my head, you would have thought it was concussion protocol, but it's not. You just got to gather yourself for a minute and get back in the game. Yes, what he
That's
did.
a really good point. You get hit in football a lot. How many concussions do you have?
Who knows?
Exactly.
Who knows? And I think that's the part of it. The reason I was laughing when I saw it, because he said he got poked in the eye and the guy hit him with his stomach. I just don't know how you get poked in the eye from a stomach. That's why I'm saying, and we'll never know, but I'm thinking he got his bell rung, and that's why he had to go sit down on the side before he could get there. Now, having said that, I agree with how they handled it. And if that was me, even if it was a concussion, even if it is a concussion, why? There is no way I'm coming out that game.
Nope.
There is no way.
Nope.
And this goes back to the NFL. They're trying to protect the players from themselves. And you damn right. If that was me, you better protect me from myself, because I'm a competitor. We're in the playoffs. I've been playing all year for this. There's no way I'm coming out this game at this point. And this is what's going to happen for all players going. And I would tell my players, as a teammate, as a coach can't say this, but I'd be like, look, if you take a shot to the head, don't get up doing this, or don't get up doing this, because they're going to take you out of the game. You're not going to come back. I would fight everything in my power to look as straight as I can, go to the sideline, and then come right back in the game.
And that's what we're creating, more deceit because of the rules. Because if you get your bell rung and you show any signs of it, we've now set up a system where you got to be walked into the locker room and you're going to be away from the game and away from playing for an extended period. And so now we're basically putting the players in a position where they're going to be dishonest because they want to compete. Again, why can't we watch boxing and MMA and not sit there and go, oh, my God, he's got his bell rung. They must stop the fight, carry him into the locker room, and bring him back. Are somehow football players more special human beings?
By the way, football players are wearing helmets and they're bigger.
Yes. Yeah. Are they more special human beings, though, where they require an extra level of protection and there's more, their life is more valuable? So we don't worry about boxers, we don't worry about UFC, but football players, oh, my God, they might have some problem. Well, yes, it goes along with playing a combat sport.
There's a certain code in football that you play through pain and you play through injuries. In baseball, because there's so many games, you sprain a hand, it's like, dude, take 2 weeks off. Don't swing that. Golf the same way. There's another tournament. In football, the code is sort of, dude, everybody's hurt by week 3. Like, nobody on Tuesday in week 4 feels great. That's the code of football. The other code of football is, dude, late in games, you just play. You just
we need
play.
We got to have you.
And by the way, many of the great broadcasters in our business did that. And then they're speakers and they're communicators and they've been out of the game for 30 years. There are codes in the military. There are codes on Wall Street. There are codes in football.
And I know I'm not, and no one else here is saying we don't care about concussions and people's health.
Of course we do.
It's a combat sport, man. Welcome back. We're joined now by Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard and the founder of the Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's move to the Lakers, whose season just went from bad to worse after the team got blown out by Charlotte Friday night. LaVar Ball called out Coach Luke Walton, saying the players, quote, don't want to play for him. Walton said the criticism didn't bother him, but when Lonzo was asked about it, he didn't exactly back up his coach.
That's just his opinion. You know, he's coached me my whole life, so he's definitely gonna have a strong opinion about it. Yeah. That's just what it is.
Are you fine with Luke being your coach? I mean, do you like him as a coach?
I'll play for anybody.
You say play with anybody. Does that? But I mean, there's still preferences, you know, like or dislike. I mean, are you happy?
My job is to play basketball. I don't decide who the coach is.
All right, Colin, should Lonzo have offered up a stronger defense for Luke Walton?
No, that was very Brady-like. I loved it. I'll be honest with you, I don't want my point guard and quarterback in politics. It's not his job. I like what he said. I'll play for anybody. That's what I want from my point guard. This kid's DNA, he's the only Ball member who's not crazy. His DNA is, I'm going to give you a matter of fact. He always stays on point. I'm a point guard. I'll play for anybody. I love that. That's Russell Wilson. That's Tom Brady. I love that kid.
Russell Wilson, Super Bowl, Tom
Well,
Brady,
can we just stop with the rings?
Bowl.
You always go to rings. You don't have a ring.
Lonzo Ball is now Russell Wilson and Tom Brady. His dad is out there clowning Luke Walton.
Yeah.
And this man shouldn't be like, hey, man, I love playing for Luke. My dad needs to stay in his lane. Why not that?
No, instead he said, I love basketball, I'll coach, anybody can coach me.
I'm with you in this from this standpoint. I don't think this means Lonzo doesn't like Luke. I think this is who he is. Yeah. He's got this low-key personality, and he means what he says. However, he has got to distance himself from his dad's quotes. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. I was talking to a head coach about this last night, and he said, look, this could get to a point where players, number one, they question, does Lonzo feel this way because his dad is saying it? Is he having conversations with his dad? But also, if you're going to be the leader of the team, at some point, players are going to start saying, you got to be your own man. You can't lead our team if your dad is still speaking for you, or at least there's the appearance that he's speaking for you. So Lonzo has got to distance himself. I know it's hard. Yeah. I know he loves his dad, of course. But he's got to say, like you said, hey, that's how he feels, but I love Luke. I mean, I'm cool with Luke.
But what if you don't love Luke? Yeah. The reports are the chemistry's a mess in that locker room.
It's early, Colin. It's early. They got a young team. There's no veteran voice in there. But, Chris, he's trapped, okay? He's trapped between his head coach, a sheepish 20-year-old rookie playing for the Lakers. He's trapped between his head coach and his father. I don't think he can do anything here. Nothing that he says is going to make anybody pleased. What needs to happen is Magic Johnson has to get involved here. This is the face of the Lakers franchise. Magic Johnson met privately with LaVar in November, and now 6 weeks later, LaVar's breaking that promise.
He did it a week later.
This is not Lonzo Ball's problem anymore. Magic Johnson has to step in here and say, dude, LaVar, this is enough.
And do what? I mean, LaVar's already broken his promise. LaVar's track record is what it is. He's
so Magic doesn't need to defend Luke Walton, his coach?
He can, but it won't do anything. LaVar is the issue. He's an island, and there's only one person important on that island, and it's LaVar. I don't believe LiAngelo, LaMelo, or Lonzo are important on LaVar Island. He's run over high school coaches. He's run over whoever gets in his way, and he's trying to run over Luke Walton. And this kid, at some point, has to say, you know what, Dad, we got our relationship, but not in my profession.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so before LaVar said this, there was you were in Vegas, probably didn't see this story, up late at night. The rest of us were working. But they had a player and a coach meeting. They blew off a practice. So the chemistry is a mess before the comment. If the chemistry, and if you've been watching the Lakers for 2 weeks, they're getting blown out by bad teams at home. What if it's a mess? And what if what LaVar said is true? Should then Lonzo come out and defend a coach that he doesn't believe in?
Let's play the what-if game. What if the mess is because all the attention is on Lonzo when Kyle Kuzma's a better player, Brandon Ingram's a better player, Lonzo isn't what his dad hyped him up to be, and there were some of us at the very beginning of this, is like, this is going to eventually create drama on this team. All this focus on the 33% field goal shooter, the 50% free throw shooter, the guy that can't really play defense. All the focus is on Lonzo. That's not going to play forever amongst a group of competitive athletes.
But don't you think the bigger risk here is not this year? This team's not going to make the playoffs. I was wrong, that's fine. But next year, when the free agents are supposed to come, are potential free agents and potential coaches to replace Luke Walton going to look at this mess and say, geez, do I want anything to do with that? Do I want to get near that toxic situation?
That's not a bad line. Well, Luke Walton might not have been bothered by LaVar's criticism, but the same can't be said about the Mavs coach and the head of the Coaches Association, Rick Carlisle, who went off on LaVar and on the media who gave LaVar a voice.
As president of the Coaches Association, I view the recent ESPN article as a disgrace, quite honestly. Luke Walton is a terrific young coach who's bringing along a young team, and it's a difficult task. Printing an article where the father of an NBA player has an opinion that is printed as anything like legitimate erodes trust. It erodes the trust that we've built with ESPN, and our coaches are upset because Luke Walton does not deserve that.
Whitlock, you have an issue with Carlisle's criticism of LaVar and the media?
Yes and no. First of all, really respect Rick Carlisle. I think he's a tremendous coach. And I know what they're fearing. They don't want the NBA to become AAU, where the parents and have all this control over the coaches. I get it. But I want some consistency from Rick Carlisle and the Coaches Association, and I want some self-awareness of the society we've created. Everybody has an opinion about everything, and we all take it all credible. Greg Popovich has been running his mouth about presidential politics all year, and ESPN's been slapping it up, and everybody's been applauding. Oh, Greg, the gym coach Ken Reeves, he's talking presidential politics. The White Shadow is talking presidential politics, and we've applauded it, and ESPN has celebrated it, and everybody loves it. LaVar Ball knows more about basketball than Greg Popovich knows about presidential politics. So be consistent. We allow everybody. We got people that don't have one credible sports opinion who make their living as alleged sports broadcasters, but the only thing they can get attention talking about is President Trump. And we allow it. Sports broadcasters. And every opinion they got on Trump is a big deal, and we treat it as a big deal. They don't have a sports opinion. So LaVar's in great company with Popovich, Steve Kerr, and all the people running their mouths about stuff they don't know anything about.
Listen, everybody knew the LaVar-Lonzo thing. Lakers drafted him. Buyer beware. Caveat emptor. Like, this isn't a shock. His dad wasn't reticent, quiet, reclusive, and started talking. Rob Pelinka and Magic sat down and said, okay, about 3 times a year, Dad's going to be loony. and they said Lonzo Ball, UCLA, Brand, next Magic. Part of this move with Lonzo, because he got eaten alive by De'Aaron Fox, some of it was business. This is the downside of the Lonzo Ball business. Dad talks.
And they underestimated how many times a year he
Yeah,
3 times a month, maybe. Whitlock, great point. That's a tremendous point. I had not thought of that. And you're right. If Rick Carlisle's going to make a charge like this, then you're right. I mean, Popovich, even though I agree, I like what they're saying, but essentially what has happened is if we like what you say, we don't care if you have no expertise in that. But if we don't like it, then we jump bad. Now, Carlisle, what I really I understand as a coach where he's coming from.
Sure.
Of course. I talked to some coaches. Yeah, they were like, this is ridiculous. He has a misunderstanding of the media's relationship with the NBA. He says ESPN, should back up the coaches. No, we shouldn't. ESPN or Fox Sports or whoever, our duty is not to back up the coaches, it's to report what is news. And look, in today's society, we had what some people would call a reality TV star win the presidency. The way everybody covered his campaign, because every day before he was president, CNN and every network, it was all Trump all the time because he might say something outlandish. Now it's spilled into sports and everything else, and this is newsworthy. I hate to say it.
It is.
If he had tweeted it and not told ESPN, it still would have been just as big. So he's got a platform.
Okay, very great points made about Carlisle. Let me look at it from this point of view. He's speaking for the coaching fraternity. As you said, they don't want this to become AAU basketball. There's literally no precedent for this in NBA history. Do other coaches look at this and say, man, good job, Rick Carlisle? Well, I bet Rick Carlisle's asking them, hey, can you guys back me up? Because if you looked on social media, Black Twitter and the whole African-American community is laughing at Rick Carlisle. Oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. What Rick Carlisle needs is Doc Rivers or Ty Lue or an African-American NBA coach to back him up and say, you know what, Rick Carlisle's right. I like what he said about LaVar Ball. Now, if that happens, I think it'll carry a little more weight because this stuff right here, this is getting
every coach
laughed at.
agrees with. I talked to an African-American
Well, come out and
coach,
say it, Doc Rivers.
and he totally agreed with Carlisle.
Well, I mean, coaches support coaches. I mean, anytime somebody's fired after Nick Saban's beaten him 13 times, he's like, I can't believe Tennessee's firing
Well, in this
their coach.
regard, they should support him because what happened to Luke Walton is unfair. Honest to goodness, LaVar Ball needs to pipe down and let his son have his professional career. My mother shouldn't be calling up to Fox Sports complaining or holding press. It's crazy.
She knows a little about TV.